7, you learned about many of the interesting creatures who live on Mars, including the tiny microscopic Gonococcus harryhausia, or Martian peen worm. Today, with the help of a neutron microholographic scanner, we'll look into a dead Martian intestine, the peen worm's natural habitat, and see the whole life cycle of this simple aeroniobe unfold as if by magic. As the miracle of reproduction begins, our lone hero is still a mere tube of cytoplasm. But soon, a frenzy of chemical activity called the amphetophase seizes the microbe, and by the mysterious process called osmotic blooming, it starts to clot. It grows a rudimentary megastamen and antherite, and swiftly matures into the spore of sex A, the gametoroid. Unscientifically, it might be called the male. He discovers his own nasophalocian tube, forms hermaphroditic autofusion until he spills a secretion of proposterone. This triggers the morph phase to begin, and up sprouts sex B, the so-called female or nymph load. Her thorax produces the Jovian knobs, and she even has a feeble nucleic eyeball, nearly as powerful as that of the male. A surprisingly complex courting ritual is initiated. She produces special chemicals called mojo bodies, which excite her partner. She places her stigmat on his cloacal apparatus and performs parthenodulation. He achieves cytospasm and germinates. And in nature's timeless tragedy, the helpless male falls victim to the eternal wiles of the female, leaving naught but a pool of albuminal spum. Using her oviduct as an oral groove, she saps every last trace of her former lover, as the layman would call him. Spermatogenocide is committed, and it's almost as if she's smiling. Now fertilized, she must drop the embryo cyst from her onal follicle. Her offspring, the zygote, contains the chemical blueprint for making new worms, an important part of man's search for knowledge. The glorious mystery of life goes on. The nymph load stimulates him until he becomes a metaphytal larva, sex C to be accurate, and a hungry one at that. Fertilizing him with the smegmatic colostrum from her polyps, she looks almost like a mammalian mother. But it looks like hunger is stronger than the love for mom. After this fit of matrix oogenocyting, he transmutes into a micropupa and cries lustily for more. But the whole reason for his brief existence is to be consumed by his own regurgitation. This triggers the metamorph phase, and a whole new life begins. Both male and female races have combined to form the scronat. See that clitelium grub flying overhead? So does the scronat. With a flick of his neuroglia, he has obtained his lifetime supply of organic carbon. Now ready to fulfill his part of the cycle, he grows ejaculatorial flagellia. The primary purpose of these whip-like appendages is simply to become entangled and confound their owner, resulting in the miraculously inadvertent cleavage called schizofusion. The single cell has formed the two non-identical cyclopedic spermatochondriacs. The female, on the right, extends a prehensile membrane, This gesture of frigid, senseless affection provokes something like a laughing reflex in the male. By the propulsion method, he expels a cloud of estrogens, antibodies, and sporophiles. At this stage, the scronat is still one being, but is at war with itself. This sufficiently stimulates a metamorphosis into the megaganglionic Titanitherian. She plunges her mandible into his epizootus, impollinating his aorta. Yes, some pain accompanies the breeding cycle, but only in accord with the checks and balances of nature. Although this is a truly bizarre form of external cross-fertilization, we can see that the worm world has its own special beauty. The apomorph phase starts with the morphodite, or sex D. It discharges prostaglycerine, which forms a columnar cell of pure lysergic deoxyribonucleic acid diethylamide. The morphodite triggers chromosomal damage, but when he remorsefully examines the pool of amniotic bile and pancreatic chyme that is tampering his cause, a microumbilical filament performs superdynamation. Now, the final spermatomorphic phase has begun. A new onanopathophrenic, or self-inflicting creature works its way out into the world, ready to live its own life. This one is sex E, the emerite. This fellow has been through quite a bit already, but he still displays a fatal reflex almost resembling curiosity. Using his chodia, he pries open his squamous membrane and initiates the final conniptional clenchings called mitosis. Whoa! Don't let that nucleus roll away! The entire mass of cytoplasm undergoes massive cytokinesic molting. Again, it almost seems as if the pinworm possessed human feelings. Of course, this is merely an optical illusion of nature. The microbe once again reverts to the familiar shape, our old friend the scronat, and its own worst natural enemy. One last spurt of cleavage produces two diploid ribosoles, each carrying half the plans for a new worm. Hopefully not the same half. Finally convinced that they are, indeed, of the same species, they hesitantly begin pairing. They combine to become one single blasphemula, which makes a last tug of mycotic cell division, and voila, there are now two worms where there once was one. But what becomes of them now? We'll learn not only that, but also why the pinworm is so crucial to our nuclear beer and even the Martian War in Series 9.